What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Texas Rangers Report, brought to you by Centerfield Media. And on today's video, I'm going to be going over the future outlook of the Rangers franchise. So I'm going to get straight into that. So Baseball Prospectus just released their 101 top prospects for this upcoming season, and 4 of the Rangers prospects made it in that list. And it's not in the order that you would probably assume. But the future is looking bright for the Rangers. We're in the middle of a rebuild. We do have some players to look forward to help this rebuild turn around and hopefully turn this club into a contender. So first off, in no particular order, Baseball Prospectus ranked Leody Taveras in the top 101. Taveras should be the Rangers' starting center fielder this year. He is probably the best Rangers defensive outfielder. He has great speed, he has a pretty solid arm, and he has a great glove as well. So I would not be surprised if he won many gold gloves in his time in the big leagues. Although the question is, can he hit at the big league level? And that's going to be the question mark. So I think his floor is a fourth outfielder. So a fourth outfielder on a big league club. But if he gets that hit tool up, he could be a leadoff guy and probably an all-star center fielder that can play great defense. I don't expect the power to be that much for him, but maybe like a 15 home run guy a year if he maxes out his power potential. That would be solid for a really good defensive guy and a speed leadoff guy. I would take that because we're trying to get the same thing out of the Shields, but the Shields never really became that guy. And the plus thing with Taveras is he's a switch hitter, so he can always get the best matchup. Next on the list, we had Josh Jung. Josh Jung is the only guy on this list who did not debut in the 2020 season. However, I do expect Jung to debut for the Rangers in the 2021 season. He is the future at third base for the Rangers. Whoever the Rangers have at third base this year is probably just going to be a stopgap player, whether they have Odor, Elvis, or if they sign a Renato Nunez type of player or Maikel Franco. Those guys are going to be a temporary player, and all the reports I've been hearing is that Josh Jung should be ready to take over the third base spot maybe by the All-Star break, so that should be really interesting. We drafted him back in 2019, first round pick, 8th overall out of Texas Tech. Every single scout thinks he should be able to stick at third base. I mean, he's played a little bit of shortstop at Texas Tech, and he's played a little bit of second base in his time in the minor leagues. He's a really good hitter. That's probably his best tool. He's a below average runner. Although the question is, will he have good power at the major league level? The power isn't really there right now. However, some scouts think he can tap into more power potential, and some scouts don't think he can. I don't really have a side on it. I'm not really a scout. I haven't really seen Josh Jung hit that much. I hope he can, because third base is a power position. That's kind of why we moved IKF to shortstop. I mean, also he was a Gold Glove, and he's just a better player than Elvis at the shortstop position. But yeah, we want our third base to be giving us at least 30 home runs, 25 to 30. That may be a little too greedy, but third base is a power position. And if you look at the Dodgers, who just won the World Series, like their third baseman was Justin Turner, and he is a power guy. I mean, he's not like a Giancarlo Stanton or Joey Gallo type of power guy, but he still produces good home run numbers. So it'll be interesting to see if he can tap into that power. But honestly, everything else for Josh Jung looks pretty good. I look forward to him making his debut in 2021. Next on this list is one of my favorite prospects in the Rangers organization is Dane Dunning. We got him from the White Sox in the Lance Lynn trade. He was a first-round pick, I think, in 2016 by the Nationals. But yeah, I think he may be the Rangers' best starter whenever it's all said and done by the end of this year. But I think he might end up being the third or fourth starter at the start of the year. It might go Kyle Gibson, Jordan Lyles, Arihara, or Kyle Gibson, Jordan Lyles, and then Dunning. But I think Dunning could be an ace. He's got good stuff. He could have been in the majors a lot sooner, but he had Tommy John surgery. At the time of the Lance Lynn trade, I like the acquisition of Dunning. I thought the Rangers should have gotten more because they got a lot more whenever they trade Darvish to the Dodgers. However, looking at the haul that the Cubs got back for Darvish, I'm kind of happy what the Rangers got back for Lance Lynn. I don't have too much to say for Dunning. I'm not really good at evaluating pitchers' talent. I'm going to be upfront with you guys and honest. But I do like Dunning. I think he has a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see what he can do in 2021. He had a really good debut for the White Sox back in 2020, so I'm excited, and I think he could become a top-of-the-line starter for the Rangers, and he can be one of the ace for the Rangers whenever they start competing again. And last but not least, this is probably one of the best prospects that the Rangers have in the farm system. According to MLB.com, he's the number 2, but he could easily be the Rangers' number 1, and that's Sam Huff. He's our catcher. He debuted for the Rangers last year, and he struggled for a little bit, but then once he got used to the pitching, the flow of the big leagues, he crushed the pitching. I don't know his stats. I'll put that up. But he dominated. I'm sure once the pitchers get used to him, he won't hit that well. But, yeah, he's kind of a tantalizing player to deal with because he's a power catcher. He hits pretty well, and he's a pretty good defender with a really good arm. I'm a little concerned that he's extremely big, like 6'5", 250 pounds, I think. And so I'm curious how that will affect his knees in the long term. But short term, I think the Rangers have their catcher for the future. And maybe if they platoon him with like Jose Trevino every so often, maybe like every other day, like one does DH, one does catcher, and they switch that off, maybe it won't hurt his knees and he can stay at the catcher position for a while. Or maybe if Huff does catcher one day, first base another day, if he does that, maybe he can stay at the catcher position for longer, because we've seen in the past Mike Napoli couldn't play catcher anymore, or most recently Buster Posey. He's still a catcher, but his knees are obviously wearing out. I think Sam Huff is a really, really intriguing prospect with the power, because a lot of catchers nowadays are just there for the defense. So if you get a catcher that can hit and has solid defense, that is a really, really good player to have on a team. I don't think he'll start the year on the Rangers roster, but maybe in AAA, and then maybe he'll get called up around the same time as Josh Young. But yeah, I think the Rangers have some really good pieces in place, and I think that they will definitely be on the Rangers' next competing teams. So with that being said, thank you all for staying to the end. Subscribe if you like the Texas Rangers, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.